Hi, everyone. I wanted to thank everyone, first of all, for all the kind words when I first posted this spreadsheet and the video tutorial. Um, I did get a couple questions about how I handle adding to a position using this spreadsheet. So I thought I would just put a little short part two to it and also just show how I keep track of this stuff as well on my charting platform. So let's say we're just going to take a hypothetical buy. Let's say we're looking at ALNY, and I'll just open that up. So let's say we bought it out of this little. It doesn't really matter, but let's just say here we bought it on this day, Monday the 16th, just over the high of the day before. So we'll say 265.50. Okay, 265.55. All right. So the way I would handle that is we would come back to the spreadsheet and I would write ALNY and just go back to my pricing then. 265, call it 55. 265.55. So let's just say that's when I wanted to buy it, okay? And I bought a half position, put 5 shares, and then I'll look at what's my actual stop price. So let's say, for me, I wanted to play this, whatever, a little bit wide. I'll put here, let's say the low of this little base, so call it 244.80. So 244.80. So this is me trying to get into, but now obviously that stop is a little bit wide for me, let's say, or still within acceptable tolerances, below 1%. But let's just say that that's what I wanted, hypothetically speaking. And again, the whole reason why you want to see these numbers is so you could say, hey, wait, maybe I'll go under this bar or the low of these days, right? So let's say I'll take the low of this day, 249.80, let's say, and I'll type in 249.80. And let's say that's more within my risk tolerance and it's a little bit light, not as much risk, but safe, okay? And this is just, a partial position. So great. Now, I'm watching this stock, it moves along, and let's just say I'm looking to buy it here. Okay, so let's say that it opens on its next trading day and breaks out. Again, this is not about the setup. This is just about multiple positions, multiple buys. So let's say I'm going to buy it above the high of this day. So call that 276.10. So what I would do then is I would add the stock again at 276.10. And let's say I want to take another half position. And now I'm going here. I say, okay, but what stop would I like? Well, I want to be really tight here, let's say. So I want to be maybe the low of this day, 267.10. Right? So now what's happening is that I'm basically fully invested, but I'm treating the same name as two separate trades. And that for me is the way that I like to look at things. When I add them. First of all, I only add if I would have bought it the first time. Meaning, does this setup look like a good setup for me? Not just because I'm adding for the sake of adding. To me, I would have bought this on its own and had it broken out. Or will it break out? Talking in the future. I would have bought this on its own because it's got a nice tight VCP and it's looking good for me. However, I don't just add for the sake of adding. I add at natural, proper pivot points. But now it allows me to start treating this as two separate trades. So I'm carrying, a total risk of $123. I'm a little bit more than 25% invested, and I have a total risk of 1.24. So you see, together, this is still within my max stop dollar for a full position, right? So basically, as I scaled in, I'm still within my tolerance, but one is at 79 and one is at 0.45. What that allows me to do is that if the stock were to, let's say it were to break up and and we were to get whatever, some action that all of a sudden started looking good, that would allow me to then say, hey, well, maybe if my original stop was here for the original purchase, well, maybe now I can start tightening that up a little bit and bringing it to maybe this point. Because now I'm saying, okay, well, if we're at 11% from where we are at the top, that could give me enough cushion to feel comfortable. So I could even come back and say, hey, why don't I move this stop up to maybe break even? So de-risk it altogether. Or I could even move it positive, right, past my buy point if the stock took off. So I'm still holding risk on the initial one, but de-risked, the second one, but de-risked the initial trade. So that's how I handle these type of things when I do a couple buys into the same name. I'm treating them as two separate trades and basically managing them that way. So, and I'm always measuring what is my total risk exposure per trade. Another thing that I do, and just because I happen to be on the go sometimes and not, and I want to be able to just quickly check stuff. So I mark things up on my chart, and it helps me understand what I'm doing. So what do I do is I normally put in a little green arrow when I bought. So let's just say that, I was buying on these 2 days, for example, and we're imagining that this day, broke out. So I would put an arrow on the days that I bought, and then what I do is I actually put two horizontal lines, and I'll just quickly draw that. I just put two horizontal lines, and then what I do is I put in my buy price and my stop price. So on this one, let's say I bought it at 265.55. So in TradingView, I'll come here and I'll go to the settings and I'll put in the actual coordinates exactly where I bought it. And then I have like a little save template where I call it initial buy line, where it just makes the line green for me, and I'll put in my price. So now I know that I bought this at 265.55, and I bought it on this day. I'll start the line on the day. Now, again, everybody can mark up charts. And then what I'll do is I'll do the same for the stop. So if I go to the stop, and for me, it's very important to put in the coordinates, right? So that way I can know exactly what I'm watching it. And now I have another one. I have a little saved one, and I'll just put in, and I'll look back and I'll say, what was my initial stop here? 5.9%. And I'll just leave it at 6. Close enough. Excuse me. So that way, now as the stock is moving, I can see where I am in my positions. Now, so let me just bring this in a little bit. And I'll do the same for this day. So let's say, I'll just draw 2 lines, and I'll put in my hypothetical buys. So 276.10. So I can see where I bought it, and then again, I do the same for my stop. And 267.10. Same thing, put a sell line, put my sell price, and I'll just put in the percentage of the second stop, 3.2, and I don't usually put in the percentages. I just put 3 or 4 or whatever. But now you can see that I can see visually how both trades are behaving. Are they well within the stops? Are they, what is the stock doing towards, compared to my buys? Another handy tool that I use in TradingView is if I wanted to peel off a piece and I wanted to visually just represent that on the chart, is, let's just say, for example, here I wanted to sell into this little piece of strength. Well, I could put in a down arrow. I'll just move that down a little bit. And what's interesting about TradingView is you can make all these little templates. So you see here I have like sold half or whatever. And the way I do that is you can just say sold quarter, right? And then you can save that as sold quarter or overwrite an existing one. And now you see I have sold a quarter. So I know that, let's say I bought a piece here and I sold a quarter of it here. Or I can just go into my settings and say, hey, sold half. And these are just little handy templates. But basically, you can mark up on the chart where you got in, what your risk is looking like as compared to what the chart is doing. And very quickly, especially for people who don't trade full time, you can't get in front of a screen as often. You can just flip open your phone, and TradingView works really good on the phone. And you can see, hey, listen, I'm getting close, or I should tighten up, or wow, look at where I am in relation to where I bought or where my stop is, and then make your decisions accordingly. Well, I hope this was helpful, and I hope that answers a few of the questions just regarding managing different trade legs using this spreadsheet.